Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining today. We're very excited for the launch of something quite exciting and something we've been working on for quite some time. So without further ado, I want to introduce our CEO, Zuhaib, to take the floor.
Awesome. Yeah, like Fawad said, thanks everyone for joining. I know a few people are still trickling in, but we'll try to get everything across to you. And there's tons of updates and an exciting new release. So I want to make sure that we get it all across. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them wherever you're watching this, and we can get to it towards the end. Perfect. So I wanted to start off with a general overview of the landscape of how things are progressing, especially in the generative AI space. It's a very exciting time. There's an explosion of creativity and generative models that you've probably been seeing, anything from DALL-E and Stable Diffusion and all sorts of AI art generators. And long before that, or not too long before that, long before in startup terms, but not too long in history, you had language models that started appearing that were um, quite something. So GPT-3 and quite a few others. And our goal from a voice and synthetic speech perspective is very similar to those. We are trying to come up with new ways that we can support creativity from our users' perspective. And we have users from all sorts of different domains that use Resemble to create content, from anything from AI assistants to films and documentaries and games, and like anything in between, marketing, sales, you name it. And every update to our product that we bring out, we try to think of how big of an impact it will have in the tooling that we can provide. So with that, our roadmap so far in our young history has been a mix of product and technology. We are one of those AI companies where if you take the AI out, we literally don't have a product. So, a lot of work has gone into getting these voices to sound really good. We published papers that are visible for everyone to see and read. One in particular in 2020 we published called Hooligan, which is a vocoder that we use to really bring audio to resolutions and sample rates that text-to-speech engines historically have never done. And then after that, we focused a lot towards bringing down latency, and trying to get the speech generated in a way and in a speed that's actually usable for products and whatever you're creating. And then towards the latter half of last year and this year, we started introducing truly unique things into the product, which couldn't have been done without AI. So getting your voice to speak different languages and adding non-speech vocalizations. And these are some of the topics that I'll dive into today, where we have really exciting updates. So just to grasp of like the sheer volume of content that's generated on Resemble, we've now created over 250,000 voices, which is quite a bit. And every month there is approximately usually around 106 million seconds of audio generated. Now, if you're like me, I have no idea what 106 million seconds is. So I did the math for you. 106 million seconds is approximately 3+ years of audio. It's like 3.3 or something years of audio per month that's generated through Resemble. That's a staggering amount of audio. And it's something that's, typically not humanly possible if you were to go through traditional methods of speech creation, that is. So we're super excited about how we've grown, and we're super thankful to all of our users who joined us either really early or more recently, but all due to you. We've actually been able to build on top of what we've started, and it seems like we're getting closer and closer to actually even making this more useful for a wider audience. One thing that we've done and focused on very early stage is how easy we can make it to create these voices. One of the ways that we're able to create over 250,000 voices, and at this rate, hundreds of voices every day, is we've made it really flexible to create these voices. So just with 3 minutes of audio data, you drag and drop, no script required, you're able to build a voice. And we're also extremely safe while doing it. So we follow not only practices through UX and UI throughout the application, with consent where it's required, but we also have algorithms that are able to detect whether the consent you provided and the data you're uploading actually is consistent with the consent that you provide. You're also able to create voices through the API, which is something truly unique, and we've seen this being used with multiple projects around the world, whether it be large museums or consumer-facing applications where they collect data from the users and are able to use Resemble's API to quickly generate these voices programmatically. And throughout this process, we've been able to make this entire thing a lot smoother by reducing the time it takes to train these voices. So we've been able to really take advantage of some of the machine learning operations that are out there and some of the infrastructure improvements. And we've actually put in a lot of effort to create our own infrastructure that allows us to build these voices in 15 minutes or less. Awesome. So diving into our first topic here, which is simply text to speech. And this is I'm extremely proud of this topic. I know it's like something everyone's familiar of by now, and it's something that everyone's like tried out in some way, but we're constantly trying to improve that part of our core product. And one of our core problems was we would collect data sets and users would upload data sets that may have one or maybe a couple of emotions in there. And in order to really expand the usage, imagine if you're creating a voice for your particular brand that runs over the telephone, and one day you decide, hey, this voice also needs to be reading an ad, and perhaps it needs to be in a commercial one day. And we really want to make that possible. So a giant step in this direction is what we're introducing now with multiple styles without any data required. So historically, or even at the moment, you would upload data that sounds like this.
McCormick's how-to recipe guide on French toast is neatly organized so readers can quickly determine how long the recipe will take, the ingredients you'll need, and instructions for cooking.
And then we would generate a text-to-speech model based off of that. Now, that's good. That's all fair. And I won't bore you with those details, but what's really exciting is how about we get that voice that was reading like a food recipe into something that sounds like a game character.
We are defenders of the night. We are fighters.
So no new data added, but sounds like a game character. Let's go an extra step here. Let's make that voice sound cheerful.
You know what they say, artificial intelligence is eating the world.
Let's get it to sound a bit mellow.
You know what they say, artificial intelligence is eating the world.
So all of these didn't require any new data. It's simply taking a data set that you would have uploaded or that you would have recorded on our web platform, and then we're able to add styles to it dynamically. And this is particularly exciting because with a little amount of data that you upload, you can actually make that more useful over time. You could apply it to different applications without having the struggle to go back into a recording studio, spend a bunch of time coming up with a script, getting that asset over to Resemble and uploading it, and then perhaps even in some cases training a completely different model altogether. Our goal is to avoid all of that and to really add styles as you need them. That's one thing that's like particularly exciting. We call this the enhanced models that we have, and we're slowly rolling these out to more and more customers. And so hopefully you'll see this in your own tooling very soon. The next thing I want to talk about is an update to Localized. For those unfamiliar, the idea behind Localized started with something very simple. We would have customers that would read out a particular sentence and or get the AI voice to read out a particular sentence, and they would have a word in there that isn't in English, and they want that word to be pronounced as if it was in that particular language. So the idea came in where we can highlight words and change the language for those particular words. And what we really thought of from there was, hey, why limit it to just a couple of words? Why not expand it beyond that? So again, with the exact same data set that you provided with just one particular language, in the earlier case here, just English, we're able to get that speaker to speak different languages very fluently. So this is German.
Vor 7 Jahren brachten unsere Väter auf diesem Kontinent eine neue Nation hervor, die in Freiheit konzipiert wurde und sich der Aussage verschrieben hat, dass alle Menschen gleich geschaffen sind.
And this is Japanese.
簡単の食べ物は 世界中で有名です。
And we could even apply different accents. So, if you have a particular voice that's speaking in American English and you want it to be in the UK and Australia and New Zealand, India, even within the US, if you want it in New York versus Arkansas versus California versus, I don't know, New Mexico. Depending on where your locale is, you can actually apply different accents to it. So this is the exact same data set, but with an accent applied.
You know what they say, artificial intelligence is eating the world.
And there's, again, no new data recorded. This is simply tagging a particular sentence with a different language tag, and you get output in that particular accent or language. We now support over 16 languages. I've listed some of the more popular ones here, but we're always expanding. You might have seen an email last month where we added Mandarin. We've added languages like Japanese and Korean, Russian, and there's quite a few more that are in the pipeline, including Arabic and Turkish and etc. As we're trying to map the entire world and all the languages that exist. Great. With that, I now want to introduce you to an update with Resemble Phil with neural audio editing. The idea behind neural audio editing is that we take an audio clip that is real. Say this one right here that's recorded by a real person, and they read it like this.
My name is Susan from National Assistance, and I'd like to help you qualify for Social Security disability benefits. Let's get started, okay?
Now, you might be familiar with slot filling with conversational AI, or just video editing or text editing. And we wanted to make it just as simple to edit audio clips and to be able to scale this particular clip to millions of permutations or thousands of permutations without having to sacrifice the quality of the delivery. And this is a nice, gentle introduction into text-to-speech. So if you're trying to figure out how to integrate text-to-speech or synthetic speech into your applications, we think this is a great way of doing it. So in this example, we changed the word Susan from before to Samantha.
My name is Samantha from National Assistance, and I'd like to help you qualify for Social Security disability benefits.
And
Let's get started, okay?
It's really that easy. All you have to do is highlight the word Susan, replace it with Samantha, click the button, and it figures out where the replacement was. Let's do multiple replacements here. Let's do Samantha and then life assistance instead of national assistance, and long-term disability instead of Social Security disability benefits. So just highlight, replace, click the play button.
My name is Samantha from Life Assistance, and I'd like to help you qualify for long-term disability benefits. Let's get started, okay?
And one of the goals here is not just to be able to replace words, but to also fix your mistakes. So if you have a recording that missed a word or shouldn't have a word, you should just as easily be able to insert it in there and to be able to generate that output. So in this case, this is the actual audio recording here.
Please listen to the options and choose the one closest to your reason for calling.
Now, we're a Canadian company, so we like to be really pleasant. So please listen carefully and then choose. Be very particular about how we instruct people to do things. So in this case, we added the word carefully and then the word then, and we'll just click that play button again.
Please listen carefully to the options and then choose the one closest to your reason for calling.
And it just seamlessly blends it into the original audio clip. So we think neural audio editing and Resemble Fill changes the way that our users create content, whether it's dynamic advertising, whether it's film editing and not being able to go back into a studio, being able to change lines and deliveries, being able to change pronunciations. It's all very easy with Resemble Fill. Personalization is also massive. We all understand that if you address someone by their name, make things personalized, there's just higher traction, a much higher user engagement there. And then conversational AI. So I mentioned this earlier. This fits really nicely into slot filling, which is essentially dollar signs and amounts, addresses, names, things that you might be familiar with in a conversational flow if you have one of those agents. And just to recap, all of this works through the API. So you're able to edit existing audio with neural audio editing. you're able to add, remove, and replace words. And then you're able to either export thousands of files through the UI, or you can just use the API to basically generate millions or thousands of files from there. And this brings us to a particularly exciting announcement that I think we want to be the marquee event for today. And so far we've touched on how we've made it really easy to clone voices, how we've made it really easy to put a text-to-speech engine on top of things, how we've been able to scale that content across different demographics and geographies by adding different languages, and also just by editing either the existing clips that you have or making things just a lot more dynamic with Resemble Fill. And this in particular is the next thing I'm about to show is very exciting for us because it just changes the way that you're going to think about creating audio. So let's take a look.
Over the last 2 years, Resemble has been used by more than 250,000 people to create AI-generated voices from bots to ads, fashion shows, and even an Emmy-nominated Netflix documentary called The Andy Warhol Diaries. Our users have crafted beautiful voiceovers in seconds, and we've come up with new ways to create content that sounds even more real. That's why we're proud to introduce arguably the most impactful feature for generative audio. We call it Speech-to-Speech. Let me show you what I mean. At the moment, you might be familiar with typing in a sentence and hitting the play button.
Hope that worked out. If not, you have a few options.
That sounds good, but my friend Liz wanted to say it slightly differently. Let's upload how she wanted to say it.
Hope that worked out. If not, you have a few options.
And let's generate this in Robert's voice.
Hope that worked out. If not, I have a few options. We can use this to create AI voiceovers that truly match human-like performances, including all of the, imperfections of human speech.
You can apply any voice skin to your voice.
Like an angry, aggressive voice that means business.
Or super friendly, like my colleague Tanya.
Or a whispering voice for when you want to be secretive.
Speech-to-speech works in real time, which means I can replace my voice with another while talking.
This is great for immersive applications that require fast speech generation. This works across all of Resemble AI's voices with stunning results in any voice imaginable.
This opens up all sorts of possibilities for gaming, film, advertisement, and narrations. Combine this with our other products such as Localized, which allows you to dub content in over a dozen languages, Resemble Fill, which allows you to do neural editing, and a low-latency API with streaming for instant results. To get started, head over to resemble.ai. We look forward to hearing what you create.
Awesome. With that, as Tanya said, I'd love to introduce you to Speech-to-Speech. Speech-to-Speech basically comes in from us looking at how users were telling us how difficult it is to create the right performance, to get it absolutely perfect. And we understood that by inserting SSML and adding, the ability to highlight certain words and get it accurately or get it more accurate is one step of the way there. But just being able to talk is a completely different way of generating content here. So with that, there are quite a few topics that can they'll be impacted by speech-to-speech. One in particular could be interactive storytelling, which I'll demo in a little bit. Game character dialogue, getting these non-verbal vocalizations to be super accurate. ADR, additional dialogue replacement, where you might have microphones that are ruffled and you want to replace dialogue, or documentaries for getting the delivery to be perfect. So your producer or director can stop complaining. They can actually get it exactly the way that they imagined. The best thing about speech-to-speech is it works with the other products extremely well. So With speech-to-speech, you can combine it with text-to-speech. So you can have utterances that are typed out and then naturally just inputted with speech. You can have Resemble fill, so you can edit audio that you create with speech-to-speech. You can use this with our real-time APIs, which I'll illustrate in a little bit. And you can also use it for across different languages. So it's agnostic of what language you throw at it, agnostic of accent. It just works. So here's an example of what it looks like in the product. And you may have seen a glimpse of this a little bit earlier, but I wanted to illustrate this with my own voice. So here I am, and I'm going to click this convert button on the right-hand side. We have a recording feature that's built in. Don't tell anybody, but this is my secret.
Don't tell anybody, but this is my secret.
And there it is, my voice from the browser. I just click record, it uploads it right away. You click the play button, and within a second, you have the output in a female whispering voice. And this is like as easy as we could make it. We also allow you to upload a file directly on the browser. We also allow you to just upload it, point it to a URL, and then we save these in a library. So if you want to refer back to them, they're already stored and you don't have to go looking for those files again. So it's super easy to use speech-to-speech within the product right now. One interesting thing that we've seen our users already use this for is audio dramas. So the power here is that you have one voice actor that can power multiple voice actors. And all of this clip is completely generated, but you'll hear multiple voices talk and they're all synthetic.
She stared at Justin and then turned and looked at Ashley. Ashley smiled and gave Sophie a nod. Sophie shook her head in disbelief.
I'm sorry, you're what?
Werewolves.
Justin repeated.
And all three of those were just powered by one speaker throughout the entire thing. If you've been using our product, you've most likely come across pronunciation issues. You've tried to, take a word that's not English at all, try to tinker around with the pronunciation, try to get it absolutely right, try to get the computer to read it as you want. You might be familiar with something called IPA, which is the International Phonetic Alphabet. And you might have torn your hair out trying to figure out how that actually works. So we understand exactly what you feel. And one of the interesting things about combining text-to-speech with speech-to-speech is that you can type in a sentence like I have right there, and then highlight a word or take the word tomato and pronounce it in a slightly different way and just click play. So here's what that would sound like.
Tomato or tomato. It doesn't really matter.
And the tomato there is just how you wanted to say it at that particular point. So you don't have to worry about spelling. You don't have to worry about phonemes and trying to learn what sounds like what exactly. You highlight, you say how you want it, and it just works. All of this is developer ready. So we expose speech-to-speech through a SSML tag called Resemble Convert. You point it to a audio file, and you're good to go. And this works seamlessly with other SSML tags and just text-to-speech as well. And what's particularly exciting is how fast we have this working at the moment. It's truly real time. And with everything that we built, the infrastructure that we built up, we're able to stream audio back to you and into the system in real time. So here's an example of a Zoom call that my colleagues had. And this was actually posted on our Slack channel. And I thought it was so good that I just had to share with everyone else here. So let's take a listen.
Fawad, can you show us one of the voices?
Absolutely. Okay.
Here we go. How do I sound?
Great.
Awesome.
That was great to hear. Hi, my name's Fawad. I love pineapple and jet skis.
Lovely. So in the voices we have trained here, we've got angry ones. Let's give that a try.
I'm really mad right now. I could just punch a wall. Hope I'm not too intimidating for you.
You really are.
Oh no.
Okay.
And so that's a real Zoom call where the original voice is just being piped into speech-to-speech or our API, and out comes another voice in real time. So voice scans and voice morphing is truly real time. So all of this comes together into our existing product really nicely. So we have a voice cloning engine, which is like the centerpiece of our product, making it really easy for you to upload data, create these artificial voices. And then we allow you to create different emotions, all sorts of different styles without uploading more data. We allow you to create content in different languages, and then even use speech-to-speech to craft it exactly the way that you want. All of this, it can be served through our cloud solution. It can also be done on-prem. We have containerized deployments that can run this wherever you want to run this. It runs on a mobile device, and it all just fits together seamlessly. And that is speech-to-speech. So that ends the announcement for today. And every product that we've launched so far has gotten a massive improvement we're super excited to see what you create with all of these tools. If you're interested in getting access to speech, you can go to resemble.ai/S2S, and we're going to be giving out access as we go over the weekend and into next week. And we're excited to see what you all create.